When the village weaver's cloth begins to glow with patterns no human could create, her closest friend uncovers a haunting pact that threatens to consume them all. In the quiet village of Nkosi, where the baobab trees stretched their arms toward the sky, there lived a weaver named Adana. Her hands moved like whispers over the loom, crafting cloth so vibrant it seemed to hum with life. The village adored her, but none more than her childhood friend, Zawadi, who marveled at how Adana's fingers danced without sound. "How do you make the thread sing so beautifully?" Zawadi would ask. Adana would only smile and say, "The loom speaks for me." But Zawadi noticed the dark circles beneath her friend's eyes, the way Adana's hands trembled when she thought no one was watching. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Zawadi lingered outside Adana's hut. Through the crack in the door, she saw the loom moving on its own, threads weaving into patterns that shimmered like starlight. Adana sat motionless, her eyes closed as if in a trance. Zawadi's breath caught. This was no ordinary skill, this was magic. She fled into the night, her heart pounding, unsure if what she'd witnessed was a blessing or a curse. The next morning, the village buzzed with news. Adana's latest cloth, draped over the elder's chair, had healed his aching back. A miracle, they cried, but Zawadi alone saw the faint, ghostly handprints left in the fabric, and the way Adana's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Zawadi could not forget what she had seen. That night, she crept back to Adana's hut, her feet silent on the damp earth. The loom was still now, but the air thrummed with an unnatural energy. As she pressed her ear to the wall, she heard it, a low, melodic whisper, as if the threads themselves were speaking. Adana's voice answered, trembling, "Please, not again. I cannot give you more." The whispers grew sharper, demanding. Zawadi's blood turned cold. She peered through a crack and saw Adana kneeling before the loom, her palms upturned in surrender, the threads coiled around her wrists like serpents, drawing droplets of blood that seeped into the fabric. The cloth glowed crimson, its patterns twisting into a language Zawadi could not read. She stumbled back, her mind racing. The next day, the village elders gathered to celebrate Adana's latest creation, a shroud that cured a child's fever. But Zawadi saw the price etched in her friend's ashen face. That evening, she confronted Adana beneath the moonlight. "Who or what are you bargaining with?" Adana's shoulders sagged. "The weaver spirit," she confessed. "It lends me its power, but it hungers. Every stitch costs a piece of me." Zawadi gripped her friend's hands, now rough and scarred. "We must stop this," she pleaded, but Adana pulled away, her voice hollow. "It is too late. The spirit will not release me." Determined to save Adana, Zawadi sought answers in the village archives. Dusty scrolls spoke of the weaver spirit, an ancient entity that gifted extraordinary skill in exchange for human essence. "The bond can only be broken by unraveling the sacred cloth under the full moon," read one crumbling text. That night, Zawadi waited until Adana collapsed exhausted from weaving. She crept to the loom and gently pulled at the glowing golden thread at the center of the tapestry. The instant it snapped, an unearthly wail shook the hut. Adana awoke screaming as the unfinished cloth writhed like a living thing. "What have you done?" she cried, clutching her chest. "You've angered it." The spirit materialized, a towering figure of shifting threads with burning amber eyes. It pointed a bony finger at Zawadi. "You interfere with what is mine." The villagers came running at the commotion, only to freeze in terror at the supernatural spectacle. Adana fell to her knees, visibly weakening as the spirit's threads around her wrists turned black. 3 days, the spirit hissed. "Complete the master tapestry in 3 days, or I take her completely." As it vanished, Zawadi caught her fading friend. "I'm sorry," Adana whispered, "but this might be our chance." The village elders barred Adana's hut, fearing the spirit's wrath, but Zawadi would not abandon her friend. On the 3rd night, she slipped past the guards with a bundle of sacred herbs from the village healer. Adana lay limp before the loom, her hands still mechanically weaving despite her fading strength. "The tapestry, it's consuming me," she rasped. As the full moon rose, the weaver spirit reappeared, its form now more solid and menacing. Zawadi stepped forward, voice shaking but clear. "Take me instead." The spirit tilted its head, intrigued. "Your life for hers." Before Adana could protest, Zawadi threw the herbs into the hearth. Sacred smoke filled the hut, weakening the spirit's threads. "Now, Adana!" Zawadi cried. With the last of her strength, Adana pulled the central thread from the nearly completed tapestry. The spirit howled as its creation unraveled at supernatural speed. "Trickery!" It shrieked, but the sacred smoke held it at bay. As the final thread fell loose, the spirit dissolved into wisps of colored silk that scattered in the wind. The loom fell silent forever. Dawn found Adana and Zawadi sleeping peacefully outside the no-quiet hut, the cursed loom reduced to splinters behind them. When the villagers arrived, they discovered the unraveled tapestry had transformed into ordinary cloth except for one small square Adana had secretly finished. "My final gift," she told Zawadi, pressing the cloth into her hands. The fabric bore an image of 2 women dancing, their faces joyful. "So we'll always remember our strength." Though Adana's hands would never weave magic again, her kindness remained. She taught the village children ordinary weaving, her laughter finally reaching her eyes. Sawadi kept this special cloth as a reminder not of the spirit's curse, but of friendship's power to overcome darkness. Years later, when grandchildren begged for stories, Sawadi would show them the tapestry fragment and say, "True magic isn't in the threads, but in the hands that hold them and the hearts that guide them." The tale of the weaver's silent song became legend, passed down to remind future generations that no gift is worth losing one's soul.